Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about deferred revenue. First of all, what is deferred revenue? Deferred revenue is when you would receive a payment for a product or service that you've not yet provided. What's an example of that? Service contracts for 12 months. You may get paid for ahead of time, but you're not going to complete the service in that first month. You're going to spread it out throughout the year. The first thing that you want to do in Acumatica is you want to enable the feature. So I am going to take you to disable features and show you where to make sure that is turned on. It is under the advanced financials and it is under deferred revenue management. As you can see, mine is checked. If it was not checked, you would just simply click modify, check the box, and enable. So the first things that we're going to look at is chart of accounts. You want to make sure you have your deferred revenue chart of accounts set up. So let's come over here to finance and chart of accounts. And I'm just going to do a quick search to show you how mine are set up. So I have a deferred revenue account, 23,000, and I have a deferred expense account, 14,000. So Acumatica can handle both, but it's just under the deferred management module. So let's go look at what types of deferral codes there are. So if you come over here to deferred revenue, you can look at deferral codes. Now these are the ones that are set up currently, and you can set it up, differently if you have a need for it. So I think mostly people use the 12 months evenly. So that's going to spread a cost out over 12 months evenly distributed. And you can see my deferral account is chosen down here. So you have some options. You can choose evenly by periods, evenly by periods if you want to prorate by days. You can evenly by days in a period, flexible by periods and prorate by days, or flexible by days and period, or on payment. So like I said, most of the time, I would think people in my past history, we used, evenly by periods. You also have an option here, revenue or expense. So if you wanted to set up an expense deferral code, this is where you would change that. So you can use deferral from item or deferral code. I'm going to leave it as deferral code, and combine deferral sub from, and if you do a Shift F3, then you get this little menu, and it just says, the triple D's are deferral code. You have your deferral account, and if you're using sub accounts, you'd have wherever you want to put that to. How often are you going to be doing this? Are you going to have it at the start of the financial period, the end, or a fixed day? Mute this for a minute. Okay, so that's your deferral codes. We can take a peek here at the one that is set up for expenses. Looks like they have an insurance deferral set up. So it's basically, they prorated some days because of insurance. But it's pretty much the same, but this one is their deferral account, they're using prepaids. Okay, so that's the deferral codes. That's where you set that up first. And the example, 12 months evenly, you're going to spread across 12 periods. Now, there's a couple different ways you can assign a deferral code. You can come in here to a non-stock item, and I'm just going to pick one. And there's a deferral tab, and you can come in here and pick what code that you want to use for it. Okay, so you can do it that way. I'm not going to save it. Another way that you can do is, and same thing on the stock items. it would be the deferral tab. Let's go to stock items and show you. Stock. I'm just going to pick this Acer Lab computer. And you can see that there is a deferral tab, and you can see how you can choose a deferral code, however you want to spread that out. If you don't want to add it to the stock item or the non-stock item, and you want to do it at the invoice level, we're going to come over here, and I am going to make an invoice. So I already started one because I've been testing it just to make sure everything was going to run smoothly. So I have this invoice for Bim Bim Bab, Korean restaurant, and they are buying some software. And they're going to buy this software product for a year, and we're going to spread the cost throughout a year. So we have this invoice in here, and then on the invoice line item, you can also come in here to the deferral code and set up what deferral code you want to do it. Like I said, I'm going to use 12 months evenly. I'm going to spread this $1,200 out throughout the year. I'm going to save it. I already removed the hold, which I can put it back on hold, remove the hold, and I'm going to release it. Now, if you come over here to back into the deferred revenue module, and you click on deferred schedules, and you go to the very end, you're going to find my invoice. And I'm going to click on that invoice, and you're going to see that it is set up for $1,200, and you can see the schedule down here. It's going to be the 28th of the month, then the 1st, and then it's going to continue to be on the 1st of the month. And so you can see the schedule and the deferral schedule. Now, if you want to run recognition, and I'm going to come over here, and like I said, it's going to be at the very end. And here is my invoice, the 1668. I'm going to check mark this, and I'm going to hit process. Now, if you were to hit process all, it would process everything. But we don't want that. We just want to process the one recognition. So I'm going to process this. I'm going to close it. I'm going to go back to the deferred schedules and go back to the end. And you can see that it now posted this 228, this $100. So $100 out of my $1,200 has been accounted for. Now, if I wanted to do the next month, I would just come back here to run recognition. I would change this date to March, say the 31st, go to the end, find again that 1668 invoice. I am going to check mark it. I'm going to process it, and then I'll close it, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to look at the deferred schedule again, go to the end, find my invoice, and now you can see February and March have been posted, and here's the GL transaction. The GL transaction is debiting deferred revenue and crediting sales revenue instead of it all going to sales revenue right away. And so you would continue to do that each month. You would continue to come in here each month, and you would run the recognition. There's the deferred schedule summary here. So if I wanted to pull up Bibby, Now I go to the end. Like I said, it's been used multiple times. And you can come up here and you can see the summary. You can break it down, how much is scheduled, how much has been deferred. So there's lots of different reports that you can run here. And expenses would run the same way, except for you would choose, deferred expense. You would do it through accounts payable, of course, and you would choose an expense and deferral code, and that's it. So do you have any questions?